Hare Krishna. Today we are going to study the verse number 17 of chapter number 5 of Bhagwat Gita as it is. In today's verse, Krishna is going to tell us the way how one can become a devotee of the Lord. A question may come in our mind that what is the need of becoming a devotee? Because mostly people think that the path of karma, Gyan and Dhyan is far better than to become a devotee. People have a notion that devotees do not contribute to the society. So, normally to become a devotee is not much appreciated by people at large. Now let us see what Krishna has to say about a devotee. In the previous verse, we came to know that knowledge destroys the ignorance. That is, Vidya destroys avidya, in the same way as the sun rays dispels darkness. And as the ignorance is destroyed by knowledge, then the living entity gets to know that he is a spirit soul and not his material body. Now, after knowing that the living entity is soul and not body, what should the living entity do so that his rare human life becomes successful? This we will know in today's verse from Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Omnipotent means all-powerful at all times. Omnipresent means present everywhere at all times. And omniscient means the knower of everyone's past, present, and future. So now let us get ready to learn from Krishna by reciting the verse number 7. Tad buddhayah tadatmanah tat nishtah tat parayanaah gacchantya apunaravrittim jnana nirdhut kalmashah. Tad buddhayah tadatmanah tad nishtah tat parayanaah gacchantya apunaravrittim jnana nirdhut kalmashah. Tad buddhayah tadatmanah tad nishtah tat parayanaah gacchantya apunaravrittim jnana nirdhut kalmashah. Krishna says that when one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Krishna says, Tad buddhayah, tad atmanah, tad nishtah, tad parayanaah. When one's intelligence, mind, and faith and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then what happens? Gacchantya apunaravrittim jnana nirdhut kalmashah. Then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Now let us read the Anvay given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Tad buddhayah, whose intelligence is fixed in him. Tad atmanah, whose minds are absorbed in meditation upon him. Tad nishtah, who are dedicated only to him. Tad parayanaah, who are devoted to hearing and chanting about him. Gacchanti, they attain. Apunaravrittim, freedom from further rebirth. Jnana, through transcendental knowledge or vidya. Nirdhut, have been cleansed away. Kalmashah, whose inability or ignorance. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna says that those whose intelligence is fixed upon the Supreme Lord, whose minds are absorbed only in meditation on Him, who are exclusively devoted to Him, who are dedicated to hearing and chanting about Him, and whose ignorance has been completely destroyed by knowledge, attains liberation, from which there is no return. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Vidya illuminates knowledge of the living entity, that he is a spirit soul and not his body. But it does not illuminate the complete knowledge about the Supreme Lord. For the complete knowledge of the Supreme Lord, one has to seek shelter at the lotus feet of a spiritual master who is in the bona fide disciplic order. And under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, when one practices Shravan and Kirtan, that is, hearing and chanting, then only the Supreme Lord reveals Himself to him. In Srimad Bhagwatam, in the 11th canto, chapter 14 and the verse number 21, it is said, Bhaktya aham ekya grah. It means that I can only be attained by bhakti. Bhaktya aham ekya grahyah. For the Gyanis, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that they have to renounce their Gyan and practice bhakti sadhana. What an important thing. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that for the Gyanis, they have to renounce their Gyan and practice bhakti sadhana. In this verse, the Lord says, Tad buddhayaha, which means that those whose intelligence is fixed upon the Lord and meditates only on Him. It means that the person will not use his intelligence in his own way and only listen to Krishna and do whatever Krishna wants him to do. And the best example of this is gopis. Once Dwarkadhesh did the Leela of headache. He told Narad Muni to get the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee. As nothing else, no other medicine was able to cure Dwarkadhesh of his headache. So he had told Narad Muni to get the dust from the feet of a devotee. But all the devotees refused, saying that how can they give the dust of their feet to be put on the head of Krishna? They said that they don't want to go to hell by doing such an act. Then Naradji approached the Rishi Munis who were meditating on the Lord. They also had to say the same thing. But when Narad Muni approached the gopis of Vrindavan, then immediately they got ready to give the dust of their feet to be put on the head of Krishna. So we see that Narad Muni first approached all the queens of Dwarkadhesh. They refused. Then he approached the Rishi Munis. They also refused. But when Narad Muni came to the gopis, they readily gave it to Naradji. Naradji said that they would eternally reside in hell for doing such an act. The gopis said they don't mind to go to hell also, if their act gives relief to Krishna. This is the most beautiful example where a devotee doesn't use his knowledge for his benefit and does everything according to Krishna's words. This is known as a true devotee who renounces the knowledge to serve Krishna. And when one renounces knowledge, then only he becomes a true devotee, which means doing everything for the happiness of Krishna. Arjun was very much disturbed till the time he was using his knowledge, his mind, his intelligence, that if he kills his family members, then he will eternally reside in hell. But the moment he decided to do his duty only to please Krishna, then he immediately was released from all tensions, worries and sins, because now Krishna will take care of him. Gopis and Arjun are fine examples of the first class devotees who only do everything to please Krishna. In Bhagwat Gita chapter number 18, verse number 55, Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, which means that only through devotion one can know me as I am and thus attain me. Here the secret is revealed by the Supreme Lord Himself, that only through devotion one can know Him and attain Him. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Now we will read the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that the supreme transcendental truth is Lord Krishna. The whole Bhagavad Gita centers around the declaration of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the version of all Vedic literature. Para Tattva means the Supreme Reality, who is understood by the knowers of the Supreme as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the last word in the Absolute. There is nothing more than that. The Lord says, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. Impersonal Brahman is also supported by Krishna. Brahman pratishtha aham. Krishna first said that there is nothing beyond him which has to be known by anyone. There is nothing more than that. The Lord Himself said, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. And now He is Himself supporting that Sri Krishna has His impersonal form also as impersonal Brahman. Brahmano pratishtha aham. Therefore, in all ways, Krishna is the Supreme Reality, whether it is in the form of Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the last word in the Absolute. And one whose mind, intelligence, faith and refuge are always in Krishna, or in other words, one who is fully in Krishna consciousness, is undoubtedly washed clean of all misgivings and is in perfect knowledge in everything concerning the transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada says that a Krishna conscious person can thoroughly understand that there is duality. Duality means simultaneously identity and individuality in Krishna, and equipped with such transcendental knowledge, one can make steady progress on the path of liberation. Srila Prabhupada says that one who knows and firmly believes in all the three aspects of the Supreme Lord is the seer of the absolute truth, which means that the Supreme Lord is all pervading in His Nirakar form, that is, in the five elements of the material world, that is the earth, sky, fire, air and water, as these are five elements of the external energy of Krishna. Krishna is all powerful, that is the Shaktiman, and these five elements are His power, that is Shakti. So there is no difference between the Shaktiman and Shakti. This is how Krishna is all pervading in the form of His energy. This is His Nirakar form, and the Mayavadis say that the Supreme Lord is Nirakar. He is formless and shapeless energy. Srila Prabhupada says that it is not wrong, but Nirakar is just one aspect of the Supreme Lord. Next is the aspect of Paramatma, as Krishna resides in the heart of every living entity as the Supreme Soul, as permanent companion, be it in an ant or an elephant or a tree. Krishna resides in the heart of every living entity. This was the second aspect of the Supreme Absolute Krishna. And the third aspect, that is Krishna himself, whom we know as Yashoda Nandan. Nandanandan, playing flute and playing with cows and cowherd boys, sometimes lifting Govardhan mountain to protect the inmates of Vrindavan, and sometimes dancing on the head of Kalyanag. This is the absolute form of Krishna, who always resides in Golok Vrindavan Dham with his eternal parents Yashoda Maya and Nand Baba, and all the gops and gopis, and simultaneously is all pervading in the form of his formless energy, and also residing in the hearts of every living entity. And any person who has this knowledge will always be completely absorbed in Krishna with his intelligence, mind, and complete faith, and would always hear and chant the glories of Krishna. Such persons, all misgivings are washed clean by Krishna himself. What an important thing we have come to know, that a person who knows Krishna in all his three forms, that is the all-pervading Krishna, and then Krishna residing as Paramatma, and Krishna being the flute player, the two-handed form of Krishna, always who resides in Golok Vrindavan Dham, that is his absolute form. Any person who knows this, his all past misgivings are washed clean by the Lord himself, and he is eligible to reside in Vaikuntha Dham of the Lord. Such a person is a true devotee who sees Krishna everywhere and in everything, and he is perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the whole sum and substance of today's verse, and Krishna has revealed this secret to us so that we may follow the footsteps of great devotees and also be liberated from this temporary place of sufferings and pain, and eternally reside in Vaikuntha Dham and serve the Lord. And by doing this, the person attains the highest goal of human life, which cannot be got in any other form of life. Now, I am absolutely sure that it is very clear to all of us that the Supreme Lord can be got only through bhakti and not by the path of karma, gyan or dhyan, as mostly people wrongly think. Krishna has cleared all the doubts by clearly saying, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through bhakti one can know me and attain me. Arjun did bhakti by fighting in the battlefield. Srila Prabhupada says you continue to do your prescribed duties according to the revealed scriptures, but make sure that you everything do only for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says that you only eat Krishna prasadam, think about Krishna's pastime. See Krishna everywhere, as Krishna has created the entire material creation with the help of his external energy, that is the Maya Shakti. So Prabhupada says that continue doing your prescribed duties and you become a perfect Krishna conscious devotee of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada says that to reach to the real point of factual knowledge, one must surrender and seek help from the right person who is already established in the perfect knowledge of Krishna consciousness, which is very clear for us that anyone who wants to become Krishna conscious has to seek the help from the right person, and the right person is the spiritual master who is in the bona fide disciplic succession. And once the person surrenders and seeks help from such a absolute personality, such a spiritual master, then definitely he will steadily proceed in the path of devotion. I thank Srila Prabhupada. I thank Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and my Shiksha Guru to give us the most secretive knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in such simple manner. I thank you for listening the Bhagavad Gita verses so patiently and attentively. Please write in your comments which path have you determined to take, the path of karma, the path of jnana, or the path of dhyan, or the path of bhakti. I shall wait to see your comments. Please share this video as much as possible to benefit everyone and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and always be happy. Now we shall meet next week with another very important verse. Till then, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, be happy and share the video more and more as much possible. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Hare Krishna.